Hi everyone, my name is Karen Kopf and I'm a running coach based in the Chicago area. I'm also a DePaul alum. I went to undergrad from 2000 to 2004 and played tennis on scholarship there as well. I also went to DePaul's College of Law from 2004 to 2007. I'm super excited to be helping you all today with some tips and tricks for endurance training. DePaul's having a virtual race here this fall, and you can choose from 5K, 10K, half marathon, or full marathon. And so these tips are great for any of those endurance distances. So let's get started. Tip number one is consistency. Consistency is king for these types of training programs, especially if you are going from being not so active or doing a different type of activity to now running and training for a race of a longer distance. It's really important to continue to be consistent with your program. So if you miss a day or you're less active one day, don't try to make it up the next day. Just kind of stay consistent with it and pick up the next day where you were supposed to. We can always modify programs and make them more conducive to your schedule, but we don't want to try to make it up and do too much too soon, too fast, and then be regretting it later with injury. Tip number two is to always warm up and cool down. So before your runs, and workouts, you always want to make sure that you're doing a dynamic warm up. So that means not holding any poses or stretches for any period of time. You want to be doing things like neck rolls, hip rolls, arm circles, leg swings, even walking lunges or bodyweight squats versus holding a stretch for 3 to 5 seconds even. We want to make sure that we're not stretching muscles too much right before we're trying to go out and run and use those muscles. Now after a run, when our muscles are nice and warm, that's when we want to be doing something maybe that you'd hold a little bit longer to try to gain some flexibility. Also, some dynamic stretches at the end are great too, and some yoga poses are also awesome. You can look up yoga workouts for runners online. There's tons of videos out there that you can find that have some great poses for after runs. Number three is daily mobility practice. So kind of going along with number two, if you're feeling some pain, feeling like, gosh, I'm getting a little bit older and when I get out of bed, my back hurts, don't ignore those things, especially going into a training program for any distance race. You really don't want to ignore those. So you want to make sure that you are addressing those by getting the right shoes, maybe having somebody look at your gait, make sure there's nothing super obvious that maybe you could work on quickly. Otherwise, just incorporating some mobility exercises or some yoga. Again, look up some videos online, which ones are good for runners, and you'll be great. You just don't want to ignore anything and make it turn into a major injury, which is going to sideline you and not get you to the finish line. Number four is strength is a priority even for runners. So we want to make sure that we make strength exercises a priority as well. Now you can do those before or after runs depending on the length of the run and maybe the intensity of it. If it's a speed run, you might not want to do strength exercises right before, or maybe do those on a different day. We can work with you on that to figure out when it's best, but even just some body weight exercises like bodyweight squats or push-ups, or even something as simple as walking lunges throughout the day mixed in are going to strengthen and stabilize, and that's definitely what we want for runners. Number five is run easy. So most of the time, most of your runs are going to be easy runs. That means controlled, comfortable, and conversational. So those are your 3 C's that you want to remember. You want them to be super controlled. You don't want to feel like you're running out of control and that your gait is all off. You want to make sure that it's comfortable. It should feel easy because it is an easy run. It should also be conversational. So you could be holding a full conversation with somebody running with you while you're running. So that means you cannot be running fast. They should be easy runs, a perceived level of about 3 to 4 at the most out of 10. Run long is number 6. Run long is the only way that you can actually gain endurance over time. So by putting those long runs in about once a week, is a really great way to build your endurance. You will naturally get faster over time in your easy runs if you're making sure that you're incorporating a long run every week. So again, these are easy runs, just a little bit longer in either duration or distance. Number 7 is run fast. This is the one that most people want to do all the time, but we really only want to incorporate a fast run or a speed run about 1 to 2 times a week. There's some silly names for these runs called fartleks, which means speed play. And you can kind of just incorporate those about 1 to 2 times a week, and that'll really increase your speed over time if you're looking to do that. So that would be An example of a fartlek would be to run to one tree and then jog to the next 2 trees, or run to the next fire hydrant as fast as you can, and then kind of do a slow jog or a walk after that. So some interval training or just some speed play just to kind of throw in. It doesn't have to be anything formal. It's just something to kind of inject some speed into your program. Number 8 is be accountable. Look at your life and say, what support system do I have for putting these types of runs into my daily schedule? So if you are training for the marathon, that's really going to take some commitment from your family members and from yourself and from your schedule maybe at work to kind of fit in a 17-mile run on a weekend. That's going to be a lot. So you want to make sure that you have support of other people around you to make sure that you are actually getting to that start line, getting to the finish line effectively, and not missing too many long, important workouts. Number 9 is be realistic. Okay, train really smart. The same thing that we talked about with our easy runs. We don't want to go too fast, too hard, too soon. We're just going to be injured by week 2. It's just not smart. Be realistic in where you're coming from and where you want to go with your goals. So if you haven't run in 10 years, but you've been doing some other activity and kind of maybe working out a couple times a week, you're probably not going to be able to go out there and run a sub 3-hour marathon. It's just not going to happen. So be realistic. Work your way up slowly so you don't get injured, and set big goals for a little bit further down the road when you become more used to the active running. Number 10 is look at the other 23 hours of your day. So if you're training for about an hour, you're doing mobility and some runs and whatever, that takes an hour out of the day, let's say. What do those other 23 hours look like? So how are you recovering? What food are you eating? Are you drinking enough water? Are you hydrating properly, not just with water, but also electrolytes? Are you eating well? Are you sleeping well? What are you doing to make it so that that hour that you are training, or a couple hours if it's a weekend and you have a long run, how are we going to maximize those hours so that the other 23 hours just basically are facilitating that hour that you are working out? So we really want to look at that over time. Even things like shoes and using compression and, not having too much on your plate, putting too much sitting into your daily schedule. So if you're just basically running from one thing to the next and you're just barely fitting in 20-minute workouts, that's not gonna, when you actually get to your run, you're just gonna be so tired by the time you get there that you're not gonna be able to do well. So just really give yourself, with those other 23 hours of the day, the best case scenario for when you do work out. If you're sitting at your desk all day and you have an hour commute on either end of that, gosh, let's try a standing desk. Let's see if you can take walking breaks throughout the day. We just want to make sure that you are moving. Sitting is really bad for you. So make sure you're moving all those body parts. Shoes, something like your shoes can be easily fixed. Just go to a running store, get fitted, try on multiple shoes. A lot of the running stores are open now. And so just make sure you get in there and try to get the best shoes for you. And I'll add a bonus one. So those were our top 10 tips, but I'm going to add an 11th one, and that's a bonus one, which is hire a coach. So we can tailor your training program to exactly what your needs are and exactly what your past is and exactly what you need moving forward, and even help you beyond the race, beyond the finish line, for post-race things like if there are any injuries, or if we want to continue running and maybe move to that next step. So you do the 5K here virtually, and then next year you want to be able to run a half marathon. We can help you with that. And the coach is a little bit better than just finding something online, because you can really tailor it to your schedule. Hey, I can only run 2 days during the week and once on weekends. Okay, we can figure it out. We'll get you to that start line and finish line. So that was my bonus tip, is to hire a coach. So if you want to contact us for anything, if you need any help at all, we are here to help. Just visit our website. It's www.kopfrunning.com. And again, my name is Karen Kopf. Thanks so much for joining me today. Good luck.